So after an amazing return of Dr. Stone last week with, of course, Season 4, I've been eager to keep on checking this one out. I've been loving this one ever since it started, and knowing that we're getting 3 split cores to finish up the Dr. Stone story, I was ready to have a fun time. And overall, immediately, they just continue on that Dr. Stone trend. But something happened in this episode that didn't immediately make me raise an eyebrow, but as the scene progressed, I thought to myself, okay, this is too perfectly lined up to be a coincidence, or my mind just simply being too much in the gutter. Granted, I do watch some unhinged shit. I'm not going to deny the fact that that can influence me seeing things that shouldn't be there. But as this scene went on, I thought to myself, that might be one of the most unhinged and sus things that I think Dr. Stone has ever pulled off. And I'm referring to the milking scene. The scene, I'm going to go over the scene piece by piece, and I'm going to really hopefully get across, because I'm sure there's going to be someone who's going to be like, oh no, you're disgusting, but chill. If this is going to be your response, have a little fun in your life. It ain't that serious, okay? There's always those people who do try to do that, so I just want to get that out of the way. So, in the process of making alcohol and explaining it, we also make a drink that is non-alcoholic for, of course, our girl Suika, and we're mixing like a bunch of poisons, and quite literally poisons, and we end up making a very sweet, like nectar-like substance or whatever, right? And our boy out here, he drops it a little bit on his tongue, and that scene in particular didn't come across as sus to me, but when I piece it all together, it starts to. And he has a reaction like, oh my god, that's so sweet. It's excited, it's shocked, he's a little confused. And then it cuts to like a goat's face, like, like just reacting, and I'm like, okay, that's weird, like what's going on? Only to then see it getting milked, and then I'm like, wait a second. That was an oddly sexual innuendo. Dr. Stone, what the hell? I understand you guys are drinking right now, but I was not expecting this level of tomfoolery from you. And honestly, the longer that scene went on, the funnier it was, because half of the episode is all about them getting drunk to begin with, and the idea of a character opening his mouth, getting something dropped on his tongue, a little shocked reaction, to then an exploding face on an animal as it's getting milked. That probably was a coincidence and an accident, but Dr. Stone just somehow just had the most sexual innuendo potentially of the week, and we're in a season with 100 girlfriends. God damn it, Dr. Stone. I understand you're a banger of a show, but I didn't realize you played this hard. Anyway, if you want to support my work and see my full thoughts on these wonderful episodes, I do have a Patreon where I got those full live reactions available exclusively over there if you're so interested. So, despite the insanity that was that scene, actually a really fun, another setup episode, really, a slice of life kind of setup episode. And they introduced a couple of concepts that, one of which we've seen already, but they really flesh out and have my mind racing on where it's gonna go. And a couple others that were just, just Dr. Stone being Dr. Stone. The idea of, like, once again, going over the idea of old school, essentially technology and ideas that back in the day would have been seen as magic is really just science. The idea that it's really cool and clever how they're ultimately getting the hours of the day to keep track of time and stuff, in terms of even if they can't have direct phone calls because of the distance that they're currently at, they can still get signals, and Senku, being the, well, human computer that he is, can handle the seconds and the more specific sides of things. Such a cool detail, but what happens when the sun's no longer visible? Like, how are they going to figure that out? And then in comes this stone, and the idea that it kind of like, when you look through things, it kind of duplicates very slightly, and it allows, as we see, for you to see a sun even if it's cloudy skies. And what's really cool about Dr. Stone, and they've done this since the beginning of the show, is really making things that, currently is science for a character like Senku, but probably seen as magic for the characters who've never seen it. But most importantly, even if those characters now kind of understand or majorly understand the concepts of science, we can still tie it back to, as we see with the Vikings, in terms of them, imagine being a Viking back in the day, and they have this stone that they hold up to the sky, and they say, the sun's here, so we go here. The dude's gonna appear to be a wizard. Like, either he's getting burned, killed because he's a heathen, or he's getting worshipped like he's Jesus. You can easily see how people could use ideas because you accidentally discovered a stone, and now you're seen as the chosen one. It's just such a cool idea, because guarantee this type of shit did happen back in the day. And you understand, just imagine the first time man discovered fire. The dude to your right probably was like, did he do that? He's the leader now, it's really interesting seeing how human minds, can kind of just latch onto someone or fear it because they know something or did something so different. The thing that I think was probably my favorite part of the episode was the concept of the revival fluid. Now, this is not the first time Dr. Stone has, made revival fluid almost feel like a currency. And what I mean is, it's easily the most valuable thing next to a constant stream of food and water. Like, obviously that's still going to be the number one because it keeps them alive, but the idea of choosing who gets to come back, I mean, that was the big thing with Tsukasa's rebellion back in the day, right? In terms of, what was that, season 2? It hasn't been super relevant in terms, because, we are steadily making more, and Senku and gang have worked pretty good since that big war to figure it out. But the idea of bringing someone back who's like, hey, my condition is I get to pick 2 people to be revived. I do question if maybe they should have made a little bit of an arrangement, like we'll bring one back now, one later, because I don't know if I would trust him having 2 allies personally, but that's just me. And it's interesting because I feel like despite us in a situation on a quest to make unlimited revival fluid, we might see a second version of that rebellion. Now, maybe not from any characters that are currently alive, but there was something about him asking like, hey, I get to pick 2. It just kind of re-sparked that thought of revival fluid really is the most valuable currency. I understand Dr. Stone introduced actual currency not too long ago, but given the fact that we're going to be on a path of, reviving people, more and more people are going to start seeing and be like, well, wait a second, should we really be reviving too many at once? And I just feel like before the show's all said and done, there's going to be one last pushback of, let's not revive too many just yet. Let's hold this over people's head. Maybe we don't give this person their family member back till they do this. Senku wouldn't be like that, but as more people get brought back, you could see how a government ideology could form, and maybe the Stone Wars aren't going to be so over like we first thought. Now, maybe that concern's not going to happen, but there's something about a man looking at us who we know might want to stab us in the throat at some point, saying, I get to pick 2, and I'm like, shit, this could still be bad. I don't know. I don't think it will be an immediate concern. Like, to me, if we're getting 3 cores of this, we still have to defeat Y-Man. I mean, it might not happen. There may not be enough time, but it could be a fear still. And I don't know. That's just my thought right now. But I thought it was a great episode, between the backstory of why someone is so desperate to fight Y-Man in honor of his master, the I get to pick 2 revival. Just, it's such a good episode, and maybe I saw too much into that innuendo, but either way, that shit made me laugh, and I was not expecting that. But let me know your thoughts down below. It's great to see so many people excited for the return of Dr. Stone. It feels like we kind of got a cult following for this one, but you know what? I'm always happy to see people loving the show as much as I am. So your thoughts down below. Leave a like if you enjoyed. Subscribe if you're new around here. Of course, ring that bell. And like I mentioned, we've got those full live reactions over on Patreon. And hey, while you're over there, I'll also give you a video shout out. All right, so today we got extras. Nuva Gown, ICL Caldera, Jacob McCarthy, Divine Tank 00, True Demon Lord, and we also have Chris. So I appreciate the support, everyone. Please take care. Have a good one.